The sport of harness racing has evolved a lot through the years, including the way a race even begins. In the United States, the days of standing starts are many, many moons behind us. Nowadays, our horses line up behind a starting car, or in some cases, a starting truck, like the Ford F-150 we have at Bally's Dover. The vehicle has a hinged gate on each side that are called wings. The horses line up behind the wings according to their post position. At the starting line, the wings fold in and the truck drives away from the horses to the outside of the track and often follows the horses as well. Each starting car has two occupants during the races, the driver and the starter, and both jobs are ultra important for a fair and safe beginning to the action. Let's take a ride and introduce you to them. Mark Clark has been a starting car driver for more than 2 decades. He began in Maryland at Rosecroft Raceway before moving over to work at our Delaware tracks, Harrington Raceway and Bally's Dover.
I was racing horses. I ran a track kitchen. Pressmore asked me, geez, can you drive the starting car for me until I find somebody? The guy that's doing it's falling asleep. You know, he just can't handle it anymore. So I told him I would. And 25 years later, I'm still here.
For Mark, driving the starting car is just another qualification to add to his harness racing resume. As a lifelong horseman and blacksmith, Mark grew up in Rochester and raced in upstate New York before moving to Maryland in 1990. Then, in 2010, he left the Free State and moved to the First State.
I was racing horses too. So, I was right there almost in the race with my horses. And it's just, it's just nothing to it. We grew up driving the horses in the race. That didn't bother us. This isn't nothing compared to that.
While Mark is looking out the windshield for his duties, starter Dale Milby faces backwards in the car. Dale has worked at tracks in Delaware, Maryland, and New Jersey, and in New York. To be a starter in harness racing, you must first pass a written test, train with a starter, and get approved by the United States Trotting Association.
I've been doing it for between 25 and 30 years. Off and on. I started out, I was still racing horses, and my first job was Ocean Downs.
From the time the horses step onto the track till they cross the finish line, let's go through what's happening in the starting car.
Do the post parade, wait for it to be post time, and go out on the track and cut them loose.
When the horses come out for the post parade, Mark pulls out in the middle of the track, and when they get behind us, I have a throttle back here and I adjust the speed. And if nobody follows us after the post parade until we get over here, I tell him to take over and we come here and park. And then when it's post time, he pulls back out on the track and gets it in the right gear, and then I take the throttle. So I'm running it until we turn the horses loose. And then he feels it when I let off the throttle, and he just takes over. It's important to be consistent in this job and try to go the same all the time, so all the drivers know exactly what to expect. So, if you were doing something different every time, they would not have any idea what they should do. So, it's just important to try to be consistent in the speed you go and those kinds of things.
Well, they're doing around 40 when we leave, and a 2-minute mile is 30 mile an hour. So they're going anywhere from 30 mile an hour to, say, 35. And the reason we follow them is if anything happens, we're right there.
I look for interference or anything that I can report to the judges, and I have to keep account of the horses, because I can't be taking off with 7 horses when I'm supposed to have 8. So I have to make sure I have all 8 horses, or all 9, whatever the case may be. After the race, if drivers, if they have an objection, they're supposed to come and report it to me. And then I call the judges with the radio and say that whoever claimed interference or something against somebody else. All clear. Most people probably don't know that I control the speed and the wings and everything. Everything but the brakes and the steering. Mark's got that all the time. I have no control over that. And it's really important to have a driver you really trust, because I've had some bad drivers, and it makes your job really hard, if you don't trust your driver. And I have full trust in the one I have here.
And it goes without saying that the horsemen going behind the gate on a nightly basis have full trust in both gentlemen, who make sure that each race on the program begins in a fair and, most of all, safe manner. Thanks to Mark and Dale for the incredible job they do.